Let's do a quick review of what we talked about yesterday. We talked here about number lines that go horizontally. We talked about the fact that positive numbers go on the right side and negative numbers go on the left side. We talked about if we take that number line and we make it vertical. Once again, we have 0. Positive numbers go up on the number line, and negative numbers always go down on the number line. We talked about the fact that these are all integers. We talked about we always start at 0 before we plot the point. If I would say plot the point at 2, we would go over 2 to the right. If I would say what is the opposite of 2, we start at 0, but this time instead of going to the right, we go 2 places to the left. Okay, we'll review here. So for example, if I would say what's the opposite of 7, you would tell me -7. What is the opposite of -3? You would tell me the opposite is 3. How about what is the opposite of 0? The opposite of 0 is 0. Very good. So, since you've done so well with that, what if I would say, what would be the opposite of the letter A? If I look at my pattern here, some of you might be able to figure out that the opposite of A will be -A. If I had the letter -B, what's the opposite of -B? +B. Very good. All right, so we're going to move on. We're going to take our math books, our blue math books, and our pencil, and we are going to open up to page S4. We are in lesson 2. We are still in 6.3. The lesson is called Real World Positive and Negative Numbers and that great number 0. We have a story here that we're going to look at, but I'm actually going to have you go ahead and flip the page. If we were all together, we would do this together, but we're going to actually go ahead and flip. We're going to have the same story on the next page. So go ahead and turn your page. And I want you to follow along as I read the story. We're going to start right here. For Tim's 13th birthday, he received $150 in cash from his mom. To receive $150, is that going to be a positive thing or a negative thing? Received. Oh, that's positive. That means I'm getting more money. Okay, so let's stop right there. All right, so let's continue with the story. His dad took him to the bank to open a savings account. Tim gave the cash to the banker to deposit into the account. Well, for depositing money into our account, that means the money in our account is going to get bigger. So we're going to put deposit, we're going to put a plus here, because deposit means I'm adding more. I'm getting more money in my account. The banker credited Tim's new account $150 and gave Tim a receipt. If he credited Tim, does that mean he's taking away from him or he's giving him? Let's read the sentence one more time. The banker credited Tim's new account $150. Well, if we're putting the money into our account, and I'm getting a receipt that they put the money in my account, credited here means positive. I'm getting that money in my account is going larger. Let's go on to the next sentence. It says 1 week later, Tim deposited another $25. Deposited that right. We found it right there. That's a positive. That he had earned as an allowance. The next month, Tim asked his dad for permission to withdraw $35 to buy a new video game. If I withdraw money from my account, what happens to the money in my account? It goes down. So we're taking away. So we'll put a takeaway sign. Tim's dad explained that the bank would charge $5 for each withdrawal. They're charging me $5. Are they giving me? Nope, they're taking money away from me. They're charging me. Charge $5 for each withdrawal from the savings account, and that each withdrawal and charge results in a debit to the account. Well, if they're charging me and they're withdrawing from me, what's going to happen to my account? That's going to be a negative. Debit means negative. All right, so go ahead and make sure you have the pluses and minuses above the words we kind of looked at today, and we're going to practice with those words again here in a little bit. But we're going to move down to the next part on our math book. It says, write each individual description below as an integer. Model the integer on the number line using an appropriate scale. Okay, well, integer, we learned from the first lesson that an integer is a number. It's a positive or negative number. When it says open a bank account with 0, the number I have here is 0. 0 cannot really be positive or negative, so we're just going to put plain 0. A number line model. Well, if I make a number line model, I have to make them all horizontal, it looks like. Let's put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tick marks. Let's put 0 somewhere. I'm going to put 0 right here. We learned that positive numbers go to the right and negative numbers go to the left. 0, so I'm going to represent 0 by putting a dot right there. Okay, let's read the next one. Make a $150 deposit. The integer that represents my story is 150. Deposit, we learned from up here on the top, deposit is a positive 150. Positive. Number line. Well, I don't really want to make a number line that has 150 tick marks. So I need to think about a way I could count. Ones is too hard. Twos would be too hard. 5, 10. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with 0 way over here. I think I'm going to count with my 50s. 50, 100, 150, 200. So if you notice my number line, I can count by whatever I want on my tick marks as long as it's a continuous pattern. 150, let's put our dot right there. Okay, our next line says credit an account for 150. All right, 150 again. Look at the top up here at the page. See if you can find where we had the word credited. Was credited positive or negative? It was a positive. So we're going to have the exact same number line. I'm going to still count by 50s. And plot my point. Okay, our next description says make a deposit of $25. The integer is 25. Deposit, is that positive? If I deposit money into my account gets higher, so that's positive. All right, let's go ahead and put some tick marks on here. What if we would count by, I could do quarters. Let's put a 0 in the middle this time. Count by quarters, 25, 50. This would have to be negative 25, negative 50, and I'm going to plot my point right there. Okay, so let's move down to the last two. It says a bank makes a charge of $5. The integer in my story right here is 5. The word charge, if I look at the top, charge, if somebody charges me, they're taking money away from me, so that's going to be a negative 5. So this time my number line has to have negative 5 on it. I'm going to put 5 tick marks. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, looks like I have room for more. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's put the 0 way over here. Positive numbers go to the right, and negative numbers go to the left. I'm going to count by ones. 1, 2, 3, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, and negative 5, just enough for me to put my dot. Okay, the last one. The integer is 35. If I'm withdrawing money, I'm taking it out of my account, so I'm taking it away. So we'll make another horizontal number line. 35. I'm not going to count by ones. Oh, 5s would be good, but it's negative. So I'm probably going to put my 0 tick mark way over to the right side. How about negative 5? Negative 10. Will I have room? 15, 20, 25. Oh, looks like I didn't make enough room here. 30. I'm going to have it come down. Negative 35. I had to do that because I had to make sure that I continued counting in the same pattern. So I couldn't go 5, 10, 15, 20, 35. Unfortunately, I had to go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. I had to make sure my scale was accurate. Okay, so we're going to flip our book over to the next page. Okay, so this time we're going to look at a thermometer, and a thermometer is a great example of a vertical number line. Okay, you can see the numbers here. Let's see what the directions say. It says temperature is commonly measured using one of two scales, Celsius or Fahrenheit. In the United States, the Fahrenheit system continues to be the accepted standard for non-scientific use. All other countries have adopted Celsius as the primary scale in use. The thermometer shows both scales and how they're related. So if you notice here, we have the Celsius numbers, C for Celsius, and on the other side we have the Fahrenheit. This is what we usually use when we say it's 50 degrees out, 70 degrees out, 95 degrees out, whatever the temperature is. We usually use Fahrenheit here in the United States. Letter A says the boiling point of water is 100 degrees Celsius. So it says, where is 100 degrees Celsius located on the thermometer to the right? Well, if I look here at the thermometer, here's Celsius, and there is no 100 on the thermometer. If you notice, it stops at the 50. So when it says, where is the 100 degrees located on the thermometer? Or we just say it's not. It is not on the thermometer. I'm going to then add that Celsius stops at, it looks like here, 50 degrees. And I'll put a C for Celsius. On a vertical number line, which we have here, describe the position of the integer that represents 100 degrees Celsius. So if we look over here at our Celsius thermometer again, we remember the 100 degrees is not on the thermometer. If it was on the thermometer, where would it be? Well, obviously it's going to be way up here above the 50, so we need to kind of write a description. So if this is 0, we're going to say that the 100 is probably going to be located 100 units above the 0. So we're going to go ahead and write a sentence that says the integer, okay, I'll let you write that down, 100 would be located 100 units above 0. Okay, so if I had 100 on here, it would be located 100 units above this 0. Okay, let's look at C. Write each temperature as an integer. The temperature shown on the thermometer in Fahrenheit. So we're going to look here at this mercury here, and the mercury, the Fahrenheit side is the left side, and if I draw this line across to me, it looks like it's at the 100 degrees. So I'm going to, it says just to write the integer, so I just have to write 100. I don't have to put any label because it just asks for the integer. The temperature shown on the thermometer in Celsius. So if I look here, now I have to go across on this side. Well, it's obviously below 40 and above 30, and I can see these tiny little tick marks right here. And it looks like these tick marks to me are counting by 2s. So here's 30, 32, 34, 36. I'm going to say that it represents to me 38. So we'll put 38. Freezing point of water in Celsius. Well, if I look at this paper, it says right here, the freezing point of water in Celsius is right here, and that integer is 0. If someone tells you your body temperature is 98.6 degrees, what scale are they using? And how do you know? Well, let's see. 98.6. 98.6 isn't even on the Celsius. Here is 98, so what? Oh boy, I would say if we're talking 100 degrees outside on the Fahrenheit side, that's equivalent to this 38. So I'm thinking this, if my body is 98, it's not going to be the Celsius because that would be way too high. So we're going to say what scale are they using? We're going to go ahead and we're going to write here Fahrenheit. So we're going to write FH, Fahrenheit. Okay. Oh, so you can see it. Okay. All right, let's move down to a letter E. Does the temperature 0 degrees mean the same thing on both scales? Well, let's look at their scale one more time. Here's 0. 0 is freezing, freezing, which is 32 degrees Fahrenheit. And 0 here would be way below freezing. So when it says, does the 0 degrees mean the same thing on both scales? Our answer is obviously no, it does not. Okay. All right, go ahead and flip the page over. Okay, last thing we're going to look at here real quick is it says write each word under the appropriate column, positive or negative number. So we see the words gain, loss, deposit, credit, debit, charge, below 0, withdraw, owe, or receive. What I would like for you to do is I would like for you to make sure you are using a pencil, and I'd like for you to pause the video, and I want to see if you can decide where you think these words go. For example, if I'm gaining something, I'm getting more of something. So to me, the word gain would go here in the positive. Okay? So I did the first one for you. Go ahead and pause it and see if you can do the rest. All right, so I've covered up my answers here with this piece of paper because I wanted to make sure I gave you time to do this. I am going to tell you that it's not, the words are not evenly distributed, which means you're not going to have 5 over here and 5 over here, or 3 here and 3 here. They're not the same amount of words on each side. There are more negative words than there are positive. Let's look at the positive words. The positive words that I put were gain. I get more money if I gain things. Deposit is when I put money into my bank account and my bank account gets higher. Credit, we learned on the story that if they credit my account, I'm getting money back. Receive, I'm receiving something. That means it's also a positive, which means all the other words are negative. Let's see what they were. Loss, that makes sense. Debit, that's kind of a hard one we get mixed up with. So if I have a debit, that means I'm in the negatives. I'm losing. Charge, if they charge me, that's a negative. Below 0 is obviously a negative number. If I withdraw, that's also a negative number. Or if I owe somebody money, that's negative. I'm losing money if I owe someone. If you need to correct things, go ahead and correct them. If not, we're going to go ahead and look at the bottom. Remember, if you need to pause the video so you can fix your words at the top, please do so. On the bottom, what we're going to do is we're going to write an integer to represent each of the following situations. Remember, an integer is a number, and all we're going to do is we are going to read the story, and we're going to see what number is being represented, whether it's positive or negative. It says a company loses $345,000 in 2011. If I'm losing that much money, that to me means a negative thing. So I'm going to put negative $345,000. Letter B says you earned $25 for dog sitting. If I'm earning the money, that means I'm getting more money, so that's going to be a positive 25. C, Jacob owes his dad $5. Owes. According to this up here, O is a negative number. My integer is 5. The temperature at the sun's surface is about 5,600 degrees. Well, here's my integer, 5,600 degrees. Let's see. The temperature at the sun's surface. Well, I think about the sun being something hot, but there's no words here in my situation that allow me to know it's going to be a negative word, so I'm going to leave it as a positive number. Letter E, the temperature outside is 4 degrees below 0. Here's my key word, below. My integer is 4. Below means negative, so I'm putting negative. A football player lost 10 yards when he was tackled. The integer is 10. The key word is lost. Lost would be a negative word. Number 5, describe a situation that can be modeled by the integer -15. And it says, explain what 0 represents in this situation. So if I had to come up with my own story with a -15, my story could be something very simple as, I owe my friend $15. O is negative. What does 0 represent? I would say that 0 represents 0 represents, let me move this up so you can see it. 0 represents my owing nothing. To my friend. So if you need to pause so you can catch up, please do so you can get this written down. Okay, so if you notice, I went ahead and flipped my book over. This is what I'm going to give to you to work on for tomorrow, and then we will grade it tomorrow. I'm going to ask you to do problem number 1. You can circle it. This is going to be the same thing we just did. You're going to read the story and you're going to write the integer. For example, a gain of 56 points in the game. The integer is 56. Gain is positive, so I'm going to leave it positive. Okay, so let's do the rest. Problem number 2, this is my trick question. I'm going to see if you can figure it out. Something is wrong with both of these statements. They're incorrect. Can you figure out what is wrong and what we need to change? You can cross it out. If you can figure it out, you can rewrite it. See if you can solve this. Then the next thing I want you to do is on number 3, I want you to mark the integer on the thermometer that corresponds to the temperature given. For example, I'll do the first one for you. 70 degrees Fahrenheit. I have to do the Fahrenheit side. I come find 70 degrees. Here's 70 degrees. I'm going to put a line right here, and I'm going to label it A because that was the problem A. So then I want you to do B, C, and D. And the last problem that I would like for you to do is problem number 4. We're not going to do 5. And problem number 4 says the boiling point of water is 212 degrees Fahrenheit. Can this thermometer be used to record the temperature of a boiling pot of water? So you're going to tell me yes or no, and why can't that thermometer be used? Okay, so if you can go ahead and finish this, and then tomorrow we will go over it.